Alrighty. By the way, I know this is wrong, but it's a large glass of orange juice. And then full of water and 2 bottles of water. So I will be plenty hydrated tonight. Hey Janie, hey Split. Welcome back for those of you coming back. Care Bear. I'm gonna wait to eat these for when the show begins. Welcome to the VT Chronicles for Sunday night. You should have seen, if you weren't here earlier, should have seen me and Bam. We're just a couple of floating heads. We couldn't stay like that the whole night. It was just too hot. What's everybody doing for Halloween? Did you guys see our contest? Hey everyone, did you guys see our contest? It's open to everybody. Should I flash this on the screen real quick? That's right. Who wore it best? Today, Vanessa costume party. No, sorry. Costume contest. Whether it's the hospital look or the pink rag what do you call it? Do-rag on the head, or the black do-rag on the head with the scrubs, black or brown. Who can come up with the best Vanessa costume? The rules are in the I posted about this. There are rules. Yes, there are. Don't want any crack pipes, please. No nudity, please. No nasty comments like on a caption or anything like that. Keep it civil. Let's have fun with it. Children are allowed, as long as you're okay with, showing the picture and if they happen to win, showing their photograph again. If you're okay with that, just keep it clean, and this should be a lot of fun. And I know it's Halloween is tomorrow night, but since we came up with it late, we're going to extend this to Wednesday. So Wednesday at 5 p.m. is the deadline to have these entries submitted to my email address, which is manny@mannybehindthemic.com. And then Wednesday at 5 p.m. we'll look at everything. We'll show you some of that. Oh, you know what? I got to talk to one of my judges about that. And then hopefully by 9 p.m. we will have a winner chosen. Okay, 1 second. Alrighty, so don't forget, this is a real thing. I had to put the word satire in the post on my page, but it is a real thing, so have some fun with that. In the meantime, we've got the VT Chronicles. She was on today, and someone said, yeah, you got to show this one. PVC pipe. You know what? I'll allow the PVC pipe. I just don't want a glass pipe. Okay, that sounds good. Or something like that, yeah. So yeah, so that's real. So pass that on, pass that along for those of you who know who Vanessa is, or if you know someone who may know who she is. You want to have a little fun? We'll do that. Satire. It's satire. It's fun and satire. Yes, thank you, phone 312. Please don't forget to like or smile or laugh at the little emojis, whatever you want to do. I'm not gonna block you or give you a hard time if you put a laughing emoji, I swear. I promise. And we'll get right to it. Let me pull the video up. I actually have two. They're both just a hair over an hour, but I don't know if I'll play both of them. Let's see how the night goes. We'll see how these are. Then we'll figure it out as we go along. All right, guys, we're going to get started here. You ready? You ready? Let me kill the music. Gone. Let us begin. Bills. Simplify. And I got to mute the music out because I don't want to get a strike or a warning. Got some good creepy music earlier, but comes with $1,000. Okay.
Hello. Y'all, I have to wait for something. So while I wait, I wanted to just talk real quick. I don't give any permission for anybody to use this video for any kind of content. Look at that. That's what happens. That's what happens when your eyebrows are wrong. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I saw a video right now. It was about hello. This is Vanessa Tijerina coming at you live here in the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. I'm just waiting for something. And so
what is she waiting for? Who knows?
While I do that, I just want to talk to you real quick.
I don't care what she's waiting for. She's going to say, "Oh, you're interested when I'm waiting for." I'm like,
we won't be disturbed.
I'm not.
I hope all of you are doing well. You don't look like the girl on your TikToks. Yeah, because I'm not wearing any makeup right now. Like nothing. Like nothing. So, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place and occasions for that stuff, okay? And some people can wear it every day, and I can't bring myself to do that. I don't have that patience. I saw a video right now of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. And I thought it was really interesting. And if you all don't follow the Meghan Markle story, Prince Harry, I've actually been following that. It interests me because if you follow me, then you know that I was raised in the public library, because my grandmother would just that was like the best babysitter for me. And the only way that I could continue to be at the public library for 8 hours a day during the summer, all through the 80s, since when I was 4. And I remember one of my special interests was it started with Princess Diana. Was I thought she was so she had this. I didn't know what it was about her. She was kind, and I could sense it every time I saw her on television. I remember sitting down in my grandma's living room in our home in Raymondville, Texas, where I live right now, and watching the wedding live, watching her get married.
I remember that.
And it's so sad now that I reflect on all that. This video is about hate. And so it just intrigued me because, well, it was a royal family. So whenever I would go through the periodicals, which I did every day, that's, you see, to me, the library was like being on the internet. And very much like when I get on the internet right now, I go straight to the news first. Sometimes I'll skip the news and I'll wait. But I would go to the periodicals and I would read all of the newspapers of the time, of that day, of that week, right? The Wall Street
How come? Oh, listen.
Journal, and I'll wait. But I would go to the periodicals and I would read all of the newspapers of the time, of that day, of that week, right? The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times.
She would read the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times at that young age. Okay. Okay. All right.
People Magazine, a lot of People Magazine.
That
I
I
loved that
believe.
one because
I
that one
believe
would
that.
come out very often. Um, National Geographic. And that would always get me to go read more. That's how I started. That's how I got all the way one time from Princess Diana all the way to Queen Victoria, all the way to Henry VIII. That started a whole other special interest. I was like, 8 wives, totally other. I have a this thing for that story of Henry VIII, and so I was just very interested. And then she had her first baby,
Six wives.
William, and then she had Harry.
Pretty sure. Pretty sure.
And you know what else I remember? I thought it was so strange because when my grandmother would pick me up sometimes, because she was the cook for the county jail, which is the reason I went to the library across the street. And that's why I would walk across the street at noon to go eat lunch, and then I'd walk back after 30 minutes because she was the cook. So sometimes we had to buy groceries for the county, and all the time we had to buy groceries for the household. And sometimes we'd have to just go for whatever reason to the grocery store. So, all the things that I just told you that I would see in the library Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, can you imagine? I had this very unique position because I had just read all the truth, right? And then I'd stand in the grocery aisles and see the tabloids. And I'd see how they would put such a negative spin on her life, literally exploiting her. And it didn't take me very long to understand how these tabloids like the National Enquirer, which was basically like TMZ, and these hate pages against me on a larger scale. It's what TMZ is now. And and I was just a kid. I was just a little kid. And I remember, now I understand why the National Enquirer was not in the library for periodicals. Now I understand why I only saw the National Enquirer and things like that in the grocery aisles of the grocery store. Now I understand why it was next to the World News. Remember the World News? I understand, some of us, think deeply about UFOs, but back then it was just a mockery of those UFO stories. Now I
So, just being a grammar Nazi, and for a lot of people say it this way, but it's not groceries, it's groceries. Just nitpicking this or that, not necessarily picking on her. But when she said it, it reminded me I'm always trying to correct people on certain words, and that's one of them. It's not groceries, it's groceries. Follow me for more English tips. Okay.
understand why those were the hate pages of the 1980s.
Oh
That's
my
what I'm
God.
trying to say. So I grew a very deep respect for Princess Diana. And I saw her whole life, because by the time she went through her divorce, she went through that, you know, I'll never forget the interview where she said, well, there was 3 people in our marriage. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, that was the first time that I thought as a child that as a child, you can be the most beautiful princess in the world and still be cheated on. Y'all know when that interview came out. That was long time ago. And then I saw her go through her divorce. And then I saw her. And then 1997, the first year the year I graduated high school.
Hmm.
I'd spent my whole childhood following her story, reading the truth about her story, keeping up with the truth, and then also seeing these hate pages in the grocery store just doing their damage. And it's so sad, because when I was younger, I thought everybody can see through this. Like, everybody sees what I see because I'm a child. Obviously, I'm a child. I can see the distinction between what the truth is. I have the discernment, so that means everybody has the discernment. No. That's why the hate against Meghan Markle exists. And then I'm going to mention another woman too. But wait.
So, at that young age, she knew the difference. She knew what hate was. She knew what the truth was. If I roll my eyes any harder, they're gonna get stuck in that position. Anyway, uh, okay.
So, going back to how so you can imagine then, all this time, even after she passed away, it was so sad. It was the year I graduated high school was my first year of nursing school, 1987. And it was sad. It was a part of my childhood that was ended. So then I was still following her children because it interested me. Those she loved her boys, you know. They lost their mom. And I remember seeing these little boys grow up to the age they were when they lost their mom. Harry was what, about 6 or 7 years old. So for 6 or 7 years, I had already been following the life of his mom. And, when he was born and when she first brought him out so that the public could see him and his brother, William. But Harry always interested me because he was, how they say, the heir. William was, and Harry was the spare. Sadly, that's why his new book is named this. It's named Spare. How sad to live a life knowing that your brother is the one that is going to be king, and you are literally the spare. He came from greatness, but when I tell you that he came from greatness, his grandmother that just passed away was great. But the greatness, I think, the biggest greatness he came from was his mother. She was impeccable. And she took everything that she dealt with grace. So I've been following both William and Harry. And I remember in 2018, I remember exactly what I was doing. And I remember seeing William and Kate getting married. And I remember exactly which patient's room I was in because I was walking through those hallways. And I remember seeing the wedding. And just remembering, or Harry's, I forgot. It was one of theirs. And I remember just thinking, reminiscing about their mom's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So, so then Meghan Markle. You see, William had picked somebody that was of the pedigree, right? She was made for, it was expected. She was royalty. She was bred for royalty.
She was. Meghan Markle
And I
was.
always thought that Harry was a renegade, and I hated whenever the paparazzi would make fun of him, and he would wind up in the also. I was so because I would be like, oh my god, here he is in the National Enquirer again, in these hate pages in the grocery stores years after his mother passed away. And now they're hating on him because of his temper. He served his nation. He went to the army, the
Mm-hmm.
British Army. But they would talk about his worst moments. And he was a redhead, is, and they're prone to being um having tempers and being different. And I remember too, people now reflect on the way that Princess Diana would give him extra attention because, like, she knew that he was different, and she knew that he was this fair, and you could tell. And I'm so glad that the documentary that I saw showed and pointed out how
Ah,
Princess Diana would give him more attention because she knew what William meant to the world.
there you go. She saw a documentary. That's what
And she
prompted
didn't want
this.
Harry to feel second best. So then the world does this to him, right? After his mother has passed away, after he's lived his teenage years. And then so he meets someone and he falls in love. After his brother meets somebody, William, and falls in love and gets married, Harry meets someone. And she's beautiful, right? Of course. She's the traditional beauty. However, there shouldn't be a however. She's black. She's half black. And she's not of the pedigree. She's not of the same pedigree. She was an American after all. Half black American. Half black American whose white and black sides of her family were nothing of royalty. And I see all the hate that they're getting. And so it wasn't surprising when I see them being interviewed and they finally tell the world the truth. The hate was so bad on his wife that she literally contemplated suicide, and she had babies back to back. So she had the postpartum depression. Plus, believe me when I tell you that I understand her sadness.
Oh boy.
There was a spotlight on her, as it is today, that is scrutinizing every move. There are some haters out there that are just waiting for them to break up. Just waiting for them to break up. Hoping, praying. I bet you there's candles lit. Because there's candles lit for me to go crazy, to give up on my life, to end my life. I promise you there is. I know. Because the friends of those people have given those people away and actually sent me pictures.
So she thinks that she's so great. So great. And hated by so many. Hated so much that people want her unalive. Or for her to unalive herself. For talking to as many people that as I have the last few years, I've never heard that before. Nobody hates her. They just don't like how she goes about life. But they don't hate her, especially not hate her enough to want to wish the ultimate for her. But she's got to play the ultimate victim. Got to be the number one victim. Got to be the most hated woman in the country, as she believes. Yeah.
Caroline says, but wasn't it traced that there's a bloodline of black heritage in the royal family? It's not. Well, the thing is that even if there was a bloodline of black heritage traced to the royal family, it may not be anything that's linked to Meghan. Just like there's, hillbillies in the Appalachians that, you're not gonna, they're white, but they're nowhere near related to the white bloodline of the British family. But I digress, but I am going to add this just as a side note. The world still doesn't know how badly whitewashed our history has been, even in the western parts, even in Europe. We have no idea the truth. We have no idea the truth. We have no idea if it was literal black folks that were the ones that were the original kings and queens. We have no idea.
I think we do.
But that's something else. That's like, if you want to look into that, study the Moors, Moors. So I see all of this hate. And what prompted me to make this video was that I saw a video. She was pregnant. And she arrives with Harry, Meghan, at this fancy event. And they get off their car. And it's in Monaco. And they're greeted by those important people. And the red carpet is laid out. And they are together, they're hand in hand. And quickly and elegantly, they're separated. And he is allowed to walk the red carpet. And she has to walk on the pavement, on the edge of the pavement, right off of the red carpet. I'm not saying that it was because she's black, it's because she wasn't considered royalty. That's how much she loves him, though. Can you imagine having those feelings, those very emotional feelings, being pregnant?
Hmm.
But she's very sophisticated, especially in her thinking, and she's very, very intelligent. I can tell. I've seen her speak many times. And
Have you guys seen the Meghan or listened to the Meghan Markle podcast? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, really cringeworthy. She had one of the Williams sisters, the tennis legends. I think it was on her first episode ever. You got to hear that just to hear it. You do.
she understands the role that she has to play to be in her husband's life. But he also understands he loves her so much that he's willing to separate himself from the royal family, which they show the world that he's willing to do. They love each other so much. Like, that is like a true love story. He deviated from the path that was intended for him. And she entered a life of scrutiny. You see that? Oh, she sounds, Vanessa's sounding too eloquent. She's making too much sense. She's captivating people with what she's saying. We got to sprinkle some laughing faces here. We got to. We got to do it. Those are the people that buy tabloids.
Oh, tabloids. You mean not hate pages? Tabloids. Hmm. You should look into that a little more, Vanessa.
Yep, there they are. There they are. Those are the ones who want to convince you of, don't look at her, don't watch Vanessa, because the real Vanessa is what you see on the hate pages. Don't believe that Meghan Markle is a sweetheart. Don't believe Princess Diana is a sweetheart. Believe the tabloids. Believe TMZ. So I'm going to go on.
Please.
So I see this, right? And then it reminds me of somebody else. And I've mentioned this a little bit. I've also seen, and I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it. But I'm going to give a caveat before I say it. To all of my followers that are not brown, not black,
Ugh.
the ones that are white,
Ugh.
I love y'all. I love y'all for understanding that you broke your generational curses. And even if your grandmother and mothers before you had already broken the generational curses, and you had grown up in a wonderful fostering environment that did not show even a semblance of racism or hate towards anything that was different, that's awesome too, for you to continue that. Even if you weren't the ones that broke your generational curses of that kind of hate, I thank your mothers and your grandmothers that did. And with that, and I thank you for not showing me hate. And with that, I'm going to say this. Man, there's a lot of white folks going after Meghan Markle. And they don't want it to be about race. How can it not be about race? It doesn't look good. Y'all don't even get me started with what's going on in Uvalde.
Oh,
that's a whole other video.
Yeah, it is.
To see all of these non-Hispanic people having these weak, ignorant arguments against the activists that are Hispanic in Uvalde, that's another video, just by the way. That I have that. It's I have my fingers on the pulse of that issue.
No, you don't.
Just in case you think I don't, I do.
You haven't even been there.
Back to the hate against these women. So I just told you about hate against Princess Diana.
Because you react to something doesn't mean you have the pulse on the situation. I'm reacting to you almost nightly. Doesn't necessarily mean I have a pulse on you and what's going on exactly with you. But that's why some people go to court to watch trials, to see for themselves what's going on. So when you go there and talk to people, then you can say you have a pulse because you've talked to people. But when you're just reading crap online, that's not a pulse. Anybody can write. People write whatever they want, and they write what they don't feel, and they write, you name it. People that don't even care write about it. So there's a difference.
And I told you about hate against her daughter-in-law, Meghan Markle. Do you know who else got hate? Jacqueline Kennedy. Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy.
Okay, for those of you who don't know what's happening right now, she's ultimately going to compare herself to all these women. Watch.
She's the wife of John F. Kennedy, one of the most beloved men in all of American history. In the way that there was a royal family in Britain, America was founded so that there would be no royalty. However, certain families rose to a certain posterity and austerity. And one of those families was the Kennedys. She grew up a socialite in New York City. And you've seen her. She turned into a style icon, a fashion icon during the time that her husband was in state politics and then rose to become president of the United States. Yes, she went through so much. Can you imagine having her life? I'm going to let you know how these three ladies have parallels in their lives. Watch. I always put it together for you. I take a breath in before I tell you this because it's pretty deep and sad. And I'm an empath. So I absorb. You see, I'm already stuttering.
I'm sure that's because you're an empath. That's why you're stuttering. That's what she just said, right?
The energy of things, words, everything. All right. So Jacqueline became the princess because the Kennedys were royalty. John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy were loved. Not only were they very handsome, they were kind. And then this was genuine kindness. genuine kindness. They grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. They grew up extraordinarily wealthy during a time where Americans could only dream of, some could not even dream of ever being that rich and protected, right? But they had just a crazy amount of money, generational wealth galore, right? And to be a good person when you know you have generational wealth is very rare. To make your life and put your life in danger, which they did, their lives were taken. Why? All they were doing was getting into politics to become the leaders that they knew the United States needed, because there was no leaders like them. Both John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert. And they were
RFK.
killed for that. That mix of not having to be, it's like last night when I told you love is doing things for people who could never repay you. They loved the world. They loved society. They had so much money that they did not need to get into politics. They didn't need to help anybody. Bobby Kennedy didn't need to go all the way to California to speak to Cesar Chavez.
They both had affairs with Monroe and a host of others, some not even named yet. So it was a promising time. People were very optimistic, but they were no angels. That's also been proven. Angels in respect to their vices, which one big one was women.
John F. Kennedy didn't need to enter the civil rights era. John F. Kennedy didn't need to rise to political power in his state and then to rise to federal power. They were beloved. Why do you think they took Bobby's life immediately after JFK's? Immediately after. They were like, no, look at the backlash that we got from JFK. If we're going to do this, we need to do this now. It needs to be done now. As it is, his files were supposed to be given to the world already and opened up. Even JFK's family is up and I digress. That's another video, just so you know. And it is the Biden administration, by the way. Yes. It's the Biden administration that's not allowing the full records of the assassination of JFK to be released. I don't know if y'all knew that. And if you don't believe me, then look it up. Yeah. Yes. The one that's at the helm of the better party in America. The party that JFK belonged to, the Democrats.
The better party. Excuse me, I want to choke. For all you Democrats out there, I apologize. But you are not the better party. This is not the better party. I don't know if either party is a better party right now. Mixed nuts. Hey, Moxie.
The Democrats won't even release what the world is wanting to see. What was written into law. After Oliver Stone's film, it was written into law. Thank you, Vandrian's page. Thank you. So, and they're fighting it. The Kennedy organization is fighting it. the living family members. And of course, people in the United States that are for justice and equality and fairness for all are fighting why the Biden administration won't release it. His own party. He lived and died for the Democratic Party. And they're the very part, don't even get me started, back to the hate on women. So I mentioned JFK and I mentioned how they were beloved. So, in the way that Kate for William is embraced by their nation in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she was pedigree. In the way that Lady Diana was embraced and still loved by a lot of people that saw past the tabloids. She was just like JFK and Bobby Kennedy. She also did not have to go out there and show love to the world. She didn't. Especially after her divorce, she didn't have to do that, but she continued. Because she's a good soul. They were all good souls. They were of the best kind. They had achieved self-actualization, which is rare.
Uh-huh.
And so Lady Diana was embraced by the world. Kate was embraced by the world. Meghan Markle was embraced by a lot of us, but hated by probably even more.
She's an asshole. That's the truth. She's not genuine. She's not humble. And people can see right through that. That's why. And because she's got his nuts like this, But
So Jacqueline Kennedy, they were embraced by these. All those three ladies were embraced by the world, and some hated. Because the world loved these men. It's man's world, by the way. Nobody would know about Kate. Nobody would have known about Princess Diana. No. And nobody would have known
Diane.
about Meghan Markle.
He said Princess Diane.
If it wasn't because the world first loved these men.
Because they were the guys. That's the families we're talking about. Of course, people love them first. They're not going to love the people that come into the family. That's common in a lot of families in the world. Is the person marrying into a family always the one that's loved? No.
So John F. Kennedy chooses a bride. And he chooses Jacqueline Bouvier, who was a socialite. And many say that she was one of the biggest reasons that he was able to rise to political power, because every strong man has a woman. If they are not necessarily as charismatic as they need to be, or if they are, it helps to have somebody by your side that people love. And people loved her. She was a sweetheart. She became royalty in America, quote unquote royalty, because he chose her. But then a lot of people hated her too. And it was weird because at the same time that he was loved, he was hated, obviously, by some people who were plotting his death. But we didn't know that until that motorcade.
We're about halfway.
Happened when they took his life.
We're about halfway through this.
But he was one of the biggest womanizers, right? In the world.
Yes, they were.
And she accepted all that. She loved him. I mean, Marilyn Monroe. So She accepted all of that. And then she wasn't 100% perfect herself. And then they took her husband. They killed him. The world turned on her. She was no longer a sweetheart.
She still
They started
was.
to hate her. Really hate her. She had these babies. They didn't have their dad anymore. And she was so vulnerable. Imagine being a woman in America and you're the wife of the most powerful man in America, and they took his life, and then they take his brother's life. Imagine how vulnerable she felt. And then you have these two babies. Well, some would say, and I say some would say because this is what the hate that I'm trying to get to. Some would say that she was lucky when Aristotle Onassis, who was the richest shipping tycoon in all of the world. I know because at the same time, even though I wasn't around when John F. Kennedy lost his life, at the same time that I was reading People magazine constantly, reading all the periodicals, I was reading about Jacqueline Kennedy, now Onassis. She was all over the tabloids, too. I would read the truth about her, her beautiful life, and her daughter Athena, who was the daughter that they created, her and Aristotle, a Greek shipping tycoon. He had his own island, separated from all of the world, in the middle of the sea. That's how rich he was. And I exhale because I'm about to tell you where the hate really comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I grew up, and this was after what I'm about to tell you, because I wasn't alive when what I'm about to tell you happened to her. So when I started reading about her beautiful life, I didn't know about what I'm about to tell you. I had no idea. I just knew that she was the wife, the widow of one of the greatest men on the planet who had reached self-actualization, regardless of whatever personal things people wanted to say about him, right? And so I saw Athena her whole life when she was a little baby girl, and when she started being an equestrian, and her mother were both equestrians, and just their lives after Aristotle Onassis. This was in the 80s, so Aristotle Onassis had already passed away. So when I was reading about in the 80s about Princess Diana, at the same time, because the world was in love with these women. They didn't all hate them.
Lucy, I'm waiting for the same thing. I think hate is a point here somewhere, but I'm just waiting for it. Because now he's dead. So let's see. Let's see.
They were in the same magazines and in the same periodicals in the library because they were loved. They had different life stories. Diana was nowhere near related to Jackie O. But Jackie O was such an icon and beloved that she was always going to be spoken about. And then I would also see people talking badly about her in the tabloids. I'd be there going to the grocery store with my grandmother, and there they were talking SHIT about these two beautiful women whose lives I keep up with in the library, and then I see them on these hate pages in the grocery aisles, literally exploiting. And I'm like, even in my small child's mind, I was like, that's not the real truth about. I just read what the real truth was about that thing regarding Jackie O, and I just read the real truth regarding that thing that they're trying to twist around about Princess Diana.
Okay. Princess Diana was one era. Jackie O, totally separate era, decade, many years apart. You see what I'm saying? And she's in her groceries and seeing all this stuff about both, or something doesn't add up. Just saying.
Like, what are these kind of pages? Like, what are the, why aren't you in my library? Because you're bullshit hate pages.
Tabloids.
And you wouldn't get any views or reads or buys on your own, because what is the story is these ladies.
Okay. I just let that go.
So I was so sad to find out. So you see how strong Diana was. She was so strong. She had 5 suicide attempts. The world never knew this. She survived becoming a divorcee from one of the world's biggest royals. She lived her own single life after that. Same thing with Jackie O. She survived all that hate from the American people. There's people that hated her. She's beautiful in ways that other women, people didn't think she was beautiful. They just hated her because she was the sweetheart, and everybody wants to be the sweetheart. And they cannot stand it when somebody else is the sweetheart. They can't. It bothers their soul.
She's trying to make a comparison here. Is that what she's doing? Since when do people hate a sweetheart? Give me another example. Is she saying Meghan Markle is a sweetheart? And for those of you who love Meghan Markle, I'm not judging you. It's whatever floats your boat. I'm saying I'm not a fan. I think she's very in a different way than the royals are. The royals are royals. But Kate is not like that at all. She's just a butthole, Meghan Markle. She's not nice. She's not friendly. That's why people don't like her.
So, not in the same way that Diana lived through all of that, 5 suicide attempts, through her entire marriage to William, there was always another woman. All of that. The way that the royal family treated her, in much the same indifference that Harry and Meghan are living right now, right? Although that seems to be getting better, hopefully, right? Now that they had to expose it to the world, though, they shouldn't have had to go that far. So imagine my surprise when just like about a year and a half ago, I already know everything I thought I knew about Jackie O. And I didn't know how strong she was until I knew what I didn't know before I started going to the library. So you have Playboy magazine. Just wait. Look at her. She's all over the place. Just look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the issue.
Got that
if you
right.
don't have patience to follow this entire video through the end, And if you don't understand how a person can literally tie in different things that you think are not related, but at the very end of that discussion, not only does she tie it together, it's tied with a beautiful bow that has nothing to do with me. The world didn't give you the comprehension needed. That has nothing to do with me. Go do some puzzles. Increase your neuroplasticity. Increase the number of neurons in your brain. Increase the way that your neurons touch each other. Okay? There's nothing to do with me.
Oh, Vanessa, you're so much superior than us. That's why we love you. You're so much smarter. Telling us to do puzzles. God, you're awesome.
I'm going to go on.
Go on.
So, you know how there's Playboy magazine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the cheaper version, Hustler.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody would want to say that Jackie O hit the jackpot when Aristotle Onassis married her. He married her because he always wanted her. He had wanted her when she was married to JFK. He wanted her because she was wanted by, in the same way that so many, JFK was wanted and lusted after and beloved by so many females. Jackie O was lusted after by many males, not just because she's beautiful, but because men think differently. Because it was like she was the wife of the most wanted and lusted after man in America. So by nature, men are going to want her. They're going to want to see her and be with her and have her. And very few men were going to be able to have her as theirs. So John F. Kennedy passes away. She's so vulnerable. And the richest man in America, the richest man in the world, one of the richest, if not the richest, wants you to be his wife and take care of you and your children.
Mm-hmm.
She enters that marriage. You see, all of this I didn't know, because when I started reading about her life in the 80s, I only knew what was in the history books and her survival after the death of Aristotle Onassis. That's it. I didn't know what I'm about to tell you. She was charming, yes, Annie. She was charming. She was educated. She was eloquent. She was graceful. She was a lady.
I know what she's gonna say. Want me to tell you ahead of time?
And she was kind. And she always emulated love. Always. So
I can't believe I was just talking to myself for a minute. I muted because I was crunching my. So, what I was going to say was, I know what she's going to say. And do y'all know about Jackie O and being in the nude and photos published? You know about that? You guys know about that? Well, let me tell you. He had to sell magazines, right? Onassis himself leaked to a certain member of the press. One thing Jackie used to do was she did yoga, and she did yoga in the nude. So he told somebody this day and this time she's going to be out there naked by the beach. Their beach is, the private island. So he had them go and take pictures of her naked so they could put him in the magazine. He was an a-hole. He really was. So I'm assuming that's what she's going to talk. Yep. Hey, Marie, you remember? Yep. I've said it before. And yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. Let's see where she's
he
going.
wanted her. Aristotle Onassis wanted Jackie O, and he got her. He married her. He's her. She's her. But then he took care of her. But he also had some other woman who she never got to marry him. Jackie O was his wife till the end. But they had a contentious relationship, a contentious marriage. It wasn't paradise. And the hate that this man had deep down in his heart, he literally just wanted her as a trophy. That's it. I got JFK's widow. I know she looks like naked. She's gonna have one in my offspring. She's mine. During one of their arguments, and to shame her, you know how some men love to shame a woman and humble her through shame? Humble her through shame. I want the world to see you as less than elegant, as less than sophisticated. I want the world to see you with no dignity. I want to strip you of your dignity. I want everything good, every veil that's good, that's between you and the world to be lifted, to expose you. He did the ultimate. So the paparazzi was always trying to get pictures of her and Aristotle, because obviously it was Aristotle Onassis. And on his own, he would have people, wanting to take pictures of him and find out where he's at and this and that. And also, I think what prompted this very thing that I'm about to tell you was that he allowed himself to be seen with the mistress, who was in her own right a beautiful woman, and she was a singer. He was a collector, Annie. A beautiful woman. But imagine being a piece of that collection.
Oh, come on. Just get to the story.
So they got in an argument, I believe, because he allowed himself to be photographed. And then it just got very cantankerous. So he set up, don't worry.
Cantankerous.
What about Playboy Magazine and Hustler? Anyhow, Remember that I told you that they had a private island in Greece, off of the Greece, in the middle of the sea. That was her. He knew her every move, her whole schedule. He wanted to shame her. He wanted to strip her of the veil of love and kindness that had grown finally between her and the world, had regrown because it was there before JFK died. This man that was supposed to love her let the paparazzi know that she does yoga on a part of the island, naked. Naked. And he gave them this information to remove her dignity. The same way that these paparazzi, for the same ugly reasons, evil reasons, bad intentions, that the paparazzi would distort the life of Lady Diana and would distort the life of Meghan Markle and would distort the life of Jackie Onassis. This man did this to Jackie Onassis. And so he tells them, hey, this is her routine. She does it in the nude. So the paparazzi did something that they never did. They put on full scuba gear. Because it was an island after all. How the hell are you going to get pictures? And she felt so safe. She felt safe from the paparazzi who was always following her around ever since the days of JFK. Safe on a freaking island. She may have even married the man just, you have an island? Where I can completely escape and I can just do whatever I want and feel safe and do my yoga naked and feel safe. That no one's going to touch me, no one's going to see me because you love me and I can use that part of the island because it's going to be ours and I'm going to feel safe because I've been so damaged and I need to feel safe. So they went in the water and they took those pictures. It was the 70s, 60s, 70s. She was completely shamed
72
by Hustler magazine. That's what gave the rise of Hustler, was the Jackie O pictures. There's your tie-in. There you go. Demented Minds want to know? Demented Minds inquiring? Demented Minds want the connection already because they cannot wait? People that want to say, oh my goodness, Vanessa doesn't know how to tell a story. She's all over the place. There's the connection. Okay, you got it now? Are you satisfied? You're just like those kind of people that were in the water. You're just like the people that bought that Hustler magazine, that bought all of the tabloids 30 years later, 20 years later, about that woman. You come from, it was your grandma and your grandparents. It was your mother. You come from a line of hate. Whoever it is here hate watching. There's your connection. So Hustler magazine shot to a level it had never been before because there was no laws back then barring showing they showed everything of hers. She was doing yoga.
She was butt naked.
They showed it all. Can you imagine being a woman in your 30s and 40s?
43. She was 43.
And they showed your whole entire body to the world? She was completely exposed in a way that didn't need to be, completely removing her dignity, exposed by one of those kind of magazines. without her knowledge. It would have been something different had she done that on her own, had she posed for those pictures on her own, but she didn't. And it was so invasive. You knew, you could see it was from far away and they had to zoom up close. This woman was literally thinking it was in private. I'm safe. This is privacy. And it was the love of her life at that moment that did that to her. That's hate. Hustler magazine in that moment, it was hate. The people buying it, it was hate. The people sharing it, it was hate. The people talking about it, it was hate. The people laughing at her, it was hate. It was all hate.
It was actually from the husband. It might have been hate from Hustler. It was about money. They didn't hate her. They just took advantage of anything they could to boost sales, to be relevant. So what happened was, I'll tell you. So all this comes out. Jackie has no idea that it's him that set her up, right? So what does he do? He files for divorce. That's what happened. Yeah, some nerve, right? But let me see where she goes with this.
That particular incident led to a lot of federal laws that after that you couldn't do that anymore. You could not show without you after that incident it changed publications. You could not, after that, you could not. They showed everything with no cover, no blurring, no nothing, no pixelating the private parts. And this was not you had to buy the magazine. This was for the public to see. Like if it was a regular newspaper, because the laws hadn't been put in place yet. So then today I see that Meghan Markle red carpet thing in Monaco. And I think of all those ladies and all that hate. So when some of you wonder, how can you be so strong? The stories of those women keep me strong as well.
Oh boy. So, okay, so the scandal exploded. She still had no idea that it was her own husband that exposed her. And so what does he do? He files for divorce. He files for divorce. But who knows? Maybe it was karma. He didn't live to get to finalize the divorce. He died before that happened. So karma.
They were humiliated to, I don't know how many degrees. Princess Diana, to the point of taking her life, trying to take her life 5 different times. Being in a marriage, being one of the most beautiful, kindest, good women in the world, and still being cheated on every day of her life. Her youth taken away from her when it could have been, her life could have been given to a man that would have exalted her and loved her. Meghan Markle, wanting to be in a marriage and then also thinking of taking her life. Jackie O, you think that she didn't have thoughts of something bad? But all of these women who the world wanted to shame survived it all with grace and dignity. No matter how much their dignity had been stripped from them and seemingly stripped from them, because dignity is your own. And it's like Whitney Houston says, they can never take my dignity. They can never take my dignity. No matter how you expose one, you can never take a strong person's dignity. Ever. Never. So that's what I have to say. That was my whole story. And I better go because I have to get back to doing what I was doing. You know that sweater that I told you? It wasn't by Ed Hardy. It was actually by the designer of Ed Hardy, Christian Artiger. Is a sweater. This is one of my favorite sweaters. This is a sweater that I tell you is a work of art. The inside's all silk. I love it. It's all silk. You know, I give you guys the whole inside is silk.
Yeah, I don't know how she could compare herself to Jackie O. Jackie O was innocent, and that was committed against her. That in no way compares what happened to you and what you're going through right now. Not even in the same ballpark. You got to be some kind of something to compare yourself to Jackie O. When the stories don't even compare. Not even close.
Oh, got a little hater.
Not in the same ballpark. Not even the same sport.
I literally tell you a whole story about how none of your stuff matters, but here you are trying so very hard, right? I'm gonna laugh still. Look, the whole inside is lined in silk, gold silk. Okay,
Good for you.
and
Congrats.
it's torn, and I still wear it. And it has a gold tassel for the hoodie. I love that. And the background is like cherry blossom trees is with no in the fall with all their foliage being taken away. You see the lotus flowers?
That's a jacket, not a sweater, right?
I'll show you the back last. So this is the front. I when I tell you that I love this, I love this. Let me see. I don't know which one's the best. Okay, this is the top back of it. Established 1958, Christian Artiger. That's the year before my mother was born. And I'll always remember that because my mother and Michael Jackson were born the same year, 1959. People try to argue with me, and it's like, he was born in the same year as my mom. I'm never going to be wrong about that, okay? So, and then this is the back bottom.
By the way, Michael Jackson was born in 1958. Just so you know, you can look it up. You can look it up.
And then this is the front. This is my favorite part. Watch. This is my favorite. The pocket. That's my front pocket. Isn't this? And I love, as soon as I should have bought 5 more of the exact same one. I should have bought them all because I loved it so much. And the tassel around her, it reminds me of the same tassel of the actual, look at that. Look. The tassel around her waist looks about like the same tassel. As it's just beautiful. And I get so many compliments. So many. They were making fun of me last year, the hateful people. Why is she wearing a Halloween shirt? It's not a Halloween shirt. It's not. It's not a Halloween shirt. It's just spiritual with a certain kind of background, but because you see branches, black branches mean Halloween in my small mind. Black branches mean Halloween. Let me go and laugh at somebody's video. When I tell you I'm an expert at dealing with hateful things, I am. Right now, I told you a story about my ability to discern at a very young age between gossip and truth. That's why hate never, always going to look like fools coming over here. And you're always going to look like fools talking about me too. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Miss Judy. Thank you. I hope that your husband got home safe. And I'm going to let y'all go. Okay? So think about that. If you are a woman and you are hated on in any way, or the moms at the PTA are being mean to you, or the people at work are being mean to you, just remember that there's women in this world, like the women that I just stated, Lady Diana, Meghan Markle, and Jackie Onassis, and me, that people have tried to degrade in every way. And no matter the depths of our sadness, we still survive. Yeah. And we survive with grace. Thank you. Bye. Go vote.
Go vote. I told her she was going to compare herself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But believable. Right? Come on. We knew it was going to happen. There's absolutely no comparison between any of those women and her. So said, you guys are so funny in the comments. I love you guys. She did. She put herself in the same category. That's what she does. She's got a short list of who else is in that category. Another one being Gandhi. Mother Teresa. Yep. So, anyway. Oh, she did say Kim Kardashian once, didn't she? Yeah. And I think she said Mother Teresa. And I know she mentioned Jesus Christ. She made that comparison a couple times. I'm not kidding. She did. So anyway, there was another episode of the VT Chronicles. There is another video, but I'm not up for it. It's another hour. And I'm really not up to it. There's only so much I can take of this. Maybe I'll do an early one tomorrow or something to get that one out of the way. And I believe that was some earlier today. Pretty sure it was. So anyway, on that note, you guys spent some time with me today. Thank you so much for spending your Halloween Eve. You guys be safe tomorrow. You're going trick-or-treating? Is that even a thing anymore? Are they taking kids? Are you guys taking kids trick-or-treating anywhere? I feel so bad for the kids, man. These stupid mandates and masking and don't talk to people and stuff. That was a very bad thing. It was sending this country down the wrong rabbit hole. And, I'm not anti-vaccine or anything like that. You make you make that decision that you feel is right for you and your family, all right? With the masking at this point, it was always something funky. Just a reminder, I'm going to be posting stuff because the holidays are coming up. I am an Avon rep, so I'll be posting a bunch of stuff for Avon tomorrow, starting tomorrow. A lot of great gifts, a lot of things to buy, real cheap, and a lot of popular items. So I'll start posting those tomorrow. I'll post my page. You can come and shop there if you like. And some other stuff. It's going to be a fun, busy week. I hope you guys had a great time tonight. Thank you for being here with me. Don't forget to please subscribe if you have not done so yet. Please subscribe to me at YouTube. Manny Behind the Mic on YouTube. I appreciate you all so much. Have a great night, everyone. And I'll throw this up here. What am I going to throw up here? We will wrap it up with this. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much for being here.
Julep, pop, 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 julep, pop, pop, pop.